Right. Evening, everyone. I hope everyone's had a good day. How's it, Sandra? How are you? You'll see that I've set up a series of slides that talk directly to your first submission for RMBS. I don't know whether I've wasted your time or whether I've wasted my time. It is the theory discussion, and we've done some of the discussion already, but it just gives you an idea of what we expect in terms of that particular submission. So have a glance at the slides. If you can grab it from the WhatsApp group quickly, it will be on ARC tomorrow. I apologize for not doing that. That's just the slides are slightly hot off the presses. Okay, I'm going to put this camera off now. Right, how's it, Nosifa? I hope you're good. Right, can we start by looking at the slides and the assignment? So we'll do it in this direction. Hold on. Right, so you have three scenarios to have a glance at. So it is an application type set of questions. So I'm happy to do the theory. I'm also happy in this class, guys, for us to discuss what you are finding, what you are doing, etc. I'm also happy to have breakaway groups where people who work on scenario one can go into a breakaway group and discuss, and I will move between the breakaway groups, hopefully trying to help you. So just give me an idea of, first of all, we'll do the theory today. The idea of once you've selected which scenario you're going to base your answers on, that we next week meet, I break you guys away into breakaway rooms, and yeah, you sit and discuss it as a group. Anyone in favor of that? Okay, one person, Caroline. Okay, Zama, thank you for that. Caroline, thank you so much. Abongile, Zama. Okay. Who's completely averse? Thanks for now. How's it? Thanks so much, Shan. Thank you so much for that. Who's completely against it? Completely averse to that. Don't want to do that. Because the reality is it's a bit of a bugger of an assignment. And remember, well, it's not about having similar answers. It is about discussing the realities. And so what if you have similar answers, Josh? Who cares? The reality is this is something very new. These are tough scenarios to deal with. And I'm quite happy to facilitate these kinds of discussions. If you guys are averse to that, I have no issue whatsoever to do the theory as is intended in terms of this module. Can we maybe do a vote on the WhatsApp group? Can someone set that up for me? Elisma or Elisna, can you guys set that up for me and we can take it from there? Okay. No, it's not an issue. No, absolute. It's reasonable to ask that, Joshua. Guys, very quickly, who's going to do the survey on the WhatsApp group? Just remember, the only person that is outside this class on there is Ronaldo, and I trust Ronaldo implicitly. Who knows how to do surveys on WhatsApp groups? Thanks, Elisma. You are such a superstar. That's 25% extra on the first assignment. Okay, so let's go through this and have a glance at the three scenarios. Who has had a chance to read the scenarios? Has there anyone? Nice, Caroline. Caroline, which one are you leaning towards to do?
I'm leaning towards AI.
So which one is that? Is that the second one? No.
Let me just look back. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. So the second part is the AI bits in terms of doing a literature review.
I think I lean towards the first scenario. Sorry, and then
no issue whatsoever, because there are two aspects to the submission. Okay. Anyone else have a choice yet? So what it means is before next week, you need to select the scenario that you want to attend to. I think that to me is fairly important, and have a glance at it and have spend a bit of time on it. I will undertake to read through the scenarios as well. I've not done that as yet before then, and then we'll take it from there. I think the idea is that we want to swing at this module one, swing hard, and do incredibly well. And I think my job is to make sure that that happens. I don't know what my role is, but I think you guys know by now that I don't really pay attention to traditional lecturer role stuff. Okay, so please glance at those scenarios. The first thing I want us to just take note of, obviously, the questions, and you'll see I've created a set of slides that talks directly to each of those questions. And then this specific one here, you've got to select a topic, and you would then have to do a proper literature review. I'll talk about that as well. The one thing I want you to get used to at this point, because this is significant in terms of preparing you for your actual research as part of RPBS, is learning to have a glance at what is fail, average, above average, and excellent. So you'll see when we do the actual marks, this is where I have to allocate marks. I work very strictly according to these. So please get to a point where you are able to start assessing yourself, where my marks are very, very similar to your marks, because that's the intention of a rubric. Okay. So I think you'll see the specifics there. Yeah, there's enough. Please note they're talking about ontology, epistemology, etc. You can see the justification. We'll go through all of that. Please make sure that you spend a lot of time on this, on in particular the 9 to 10 area there. Very important that we get used to that. It is really good practice for when we start doing the research reports, etc. I don't know whether I'm going to waste your time tonight. You'll see I've created a set of slides. It's slightly hot off the presses. I'm going to go through it again so that we can just get an idea of what is where. You'll see that these relate to the different questions, and then we'll go through each of these. So we've spoken quite a bit about your problem statement, and I think everyone has a clear sense of what a problem statement is. Please do yourselves a favor. The one thing where we lose a lot of marks here is when people actually don't write it as a problem. Things to be very cautious about is, first of all, do not make suggestions on solutions here. I think that is the most dangerous thing to do. We're talking about the deficiency. We're talking about the concern. We're talking about the one thing that is the headache in terms of what we want to try and resolve. Okay. So in terms of your research problem, I don't believe that unless you have a research problem, sorry, you do not have a reason to do research. Please give me apologies for that. So in terms of the kinds of things that you will generally look at, I think it is about the gap. I think the specific one, when we look at this set of scenarios, this is what we are focusing on, the deficiency, the gap that has brought us to this point. In terms of the difference between the way you are going to write this problem statement and the problem statement that you would be doing for the concept document, for example, this will have significantly more information. So you'll spend quite a bit of time actually unpacking it, and you will bring in, bits of references if need be. So here we are looking at a significant problem statement. Please don't confuse it with the one that we spoke about last week, specifically around the concept document. Okay, so your problem statement, I still believe that this is the way we write a problem statement. We start by describing the ideal situation, with the utopian place that we want to take this problem to. I think also you'll spend a bit of time talking about the reality. You'll spend a lot of time talking about the reality. This is the deficiency, this is the shortfall. And then in terms of the consequences, what you intend to do with the way ahead. And it is often will be adopting a qualitative approach and then moving from there, involving subject matter experts or quantitative if need be. Can I just say, please don't write part A ideal, part B reality, part C. It's inferred, those elements. If you leave part A and C out, it's not the end of the world, but I need to see a significant contribution in terms of that particular area. The purpose statement, and again, we've already done that. I think it's this single sentence that gives us our intention for the research. I think it is accurate, it is comprehensive, and it leaves the reader in no uncertain mind as to what we want to achieve. I think you can see when we talk about purpose statements, the kind of criteria that we adhere to. I like the idea of keeping it simple. If you start with the purpose of this research is to, you cannot end up in the wrong place. And if you end up in the wrong place, then we have to start testing you for literacy. Sorry, that was rude. We have to test you for literacy. And you can see if you end up wanting to do a twofold approach in terms of that, that's absolutely fine. Please remember that the purpose is literally what the ideal in terms of that problem would look like. Please use these scripts. Oh my gosh, please use these scripts. Guys, these scripts are designed to actually prompt you in the right direction. And I honestly don't care if every single one of you steals that one and starts with that. I will not even take any notice of it, because at least you're following instructions. Then the research paradigm and approach. You'll see I've reversed what the question wants. The question has it the other way around. Hold on a sec. So you'll see it says approach and paradigm. Please start with the paradigm. The umbrella concept is the paradigm, and the approach would follow what the paradigm is. So I've tried to give a bit of information here, and some of the stuff you would have seen. So in terms of the options, when we use paradigms, and we use paradigms to create knowledge, the first one, oh dear, what is going on? Is somebody unmuted and I'm getting feedback? Just be careful that side, guys. So the first one is the idea to look at cause and effect. So if you adopt a positivist paradigm, we look at relationships. We look at independent and dependent variables and how one impacts the other. The second one, it is about an in-depth understanding of the phenomenon by quickly glancing, and I don't want to sway your decisions tonight, but by quickly glancing at those scenarios, for me, I think I would default almost in terms of every single one to adopt an interpretivist approach. The reality is just of that nature. But if you want to go positivist, that's absolutely fine as well. And then I don't know if you're going to be able to use critical realism. Just remember, the moment we start bringing in critical realism, it just brings in additional layers of headaches in terms of when we actually do the approach. We need to start thinking about both quantitative and qualitative. So just as a suggestion from my side, maybe avoid the third one. I've tried to unpack this a lot more. So this is a very, very good summary of what we have to do. So positivism, the causal relationship, interpretivism, this idea of understanding the kind of meaningful interpretation of people's experiences of things, events. And then in terms of critical realism, it is to break cycles of disempowerment. It is to empower people to essentially move forward in their lives. Ontology is always about reality, and we know that here we talk about the reality as something that is external to the actual researcher. It is governed by a set of laws, so it is H2O in terms of water. And then in terms of interpretivism, reality depends on your perceptions, on your experiences, on your concerns, etc. In terms of reality changes over time, and it's often about the underlying structures within society at a particular point in time that guides what reality is. Epistemology, in terms of what is knowledge, you can see there, we can create it through scientific, empirical observation. In terms of epistemology from an interpretivist perspective, remember, guys, it's this idea that knowledge is what we can get from a person that's lived a particular experience. It is what those being studied essentially would indicate as their concerns, as their hopes, their dreams, etc. And in terms of knowledge here, it's about changing patterns of behavior. It is about empowering, providing people with tools to actually change their own world. In terms of meta theory, I don't know if any of these apply in terms of the questions. Hold on a second here. Let's just look at the rubric. My apologies for doing this. Provides ontology, epistemology, and it fits the research, compelling justification. So please note, guys, there are two components to this. Hey, you have to look at this. And once you've selected your paradigm, you need to tell us that this paradigm is relevant for these reasons. And I'm concerned that people are going to lose sight of the importance of these specific rubric elements. My suggestion is print this out, stick it somewhere where you work, and that your mind is constantly focused on that. You have to constantly almost refer back to what is here. And remember, from there, your research approach. Remember, qualitative, quantitative mixed methods. So the golden thread is absolutely essential. Remember, if you are using an interpretivist approach, by now you should know that you're doing qualitative research. If you're a positivist in terms of your approach, you know that you're going to use quantitative research. Now, the reality is, and this makes it a little bit more complex, if you're going to use critical realism, I don't think it applies to any of the scenarios. The reality is you will have to have a mixed methods approach. Go for it, Lebohang.
Good evening, Doc. I just wanted to ask, can't you please ask them to remove some restrictions because we're not allowed to print our papers?
Oh, for Pete's sake, please get into a habit of taking pictures of it and printing the pictures, because they're not going to remove those restrictions. Can I be honest with you? And if anyone listens, no, who cares? I take pictures of this stuff, guys, because, you know, in some instances, I need those pictures because it's about setting up questions, etc. Okay, the Sejo has given us an answer there, Lebohang. If anyone knows how to do it, please can we just share it on the group, some set of instructions, even if you do a recording and upload it onto the group. Remember, the group is for this kind of thing. Okay, so Lebohang, the Sejo, can you please just show us how to do it on the group, even if you do a bit of a recording? Is that okay? Okay, and Elizma is also giving further instructions. Okay. Thanks for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, guys. Really well done. Thanks, Sandra. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, Lucejo. Your research approach, And again, I've tried to give you the specifics. I might have got it in reverse here. Quantitative research, it's about testing theories, it's about cause and effect, it's about dependent and independent variables, which means you've got to write it in that way. And generally, it would be through the surveys. Whether you can fit experiments into this, I'm not sure. In terms of the research design for interpretivism, I think the reality is that here it's about understanding people's lived experiences. So it generally would be based around observation, focus groups, you can do interviews, etc. There's a lot of information that can be obtained from observation, from interviews, from focus groups in those areas. I've tried to give some of the research methodologies there. You can have a glance at the type of research elements, and you can work through it. I think a lot of the stuff that there's some elements of exploratory research. It will really depend on how you approach your initial interpretation and your initial questions and your initial decisions around what the problem is and how you will write the problem. You can see some of the other stuff here, guys. We now know the stuff, your research questions. So in terms of your research question, it essentially ultimately will shape how our research goes. The important thing about research questions is right at the end, once you've done your data analysis, once you've done your data collection, once you've done your interpretation of your data, you will go back and you will ask yourself and prove to your reader that the first research question has been addressed. The second research question, if you're doing qualitative research, has been addressed. So in terms of research questions, I think when we do qualitative research, please start with the central question. Please don't get too bogged down in too many sub-questions. Maybe try and limit it to 3 sub-questions. The rule in terms of the central question is that this is the single broadest question you can ask about this particular issue. The sub-questions, I often think of the sub-questions as clarifying questions, where I'll look at the process. So if I had to have a research question about supply chain, I would have an element in terms of identifying suppliers, facilitating the deliveries, checking quality. I'm not a supply chain person. Okay. In terms of quantitative research questions, one research question, guys, it often will be in the form of the relationship of a relationship. What is the relationship between 2 particular elements? And then you'll take that further with specific hypotheses. Your hypotheses essentially would indicate a relationship and then also allow for the fact that you cannot prove a relationship. So your null hypothesis essentially would indicate that there is no relationship between your variables, whereas your alternative bidirectional hypothesis will always indicate that the one affects the other. In terms of that, H0 for null hypothesis, or H footnote 0 for null hypothesis, H footnote 1 for your alternate hypothesis. You'll also see that there is a particular question on, okay, so let's just make sure, hypotheses, direct traceable from the problem statement and the research outcomes. So you'll constantly see the notion of the golden thread inferred. So the golden thread is where everything is logical in terms of everything else, that everything ties back to, feeds from the original, generally the research problem. Please also remember, in terms of your hypotheses, they've given us that this is a real concern. Oh, there's an or there. And your research questions, okay. And again, you can see the implied notion of the golden thread. Right. And then your key construct, so your conceptualization, guys. So here we are looking at your conceptual operational definition, and attending to the variables in the investigation. Please do me a favor for your conceptualization. If you have a particular definition, use an academic reference for that definition. I like the idea of identifying the concept. I then like the idea of defining the concept using an academic reference, and then contextualizing that particular concept in terms of the research that you're doing. Okay. Okay, right. They're very, very clear indications of what we want there. Okay. Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Guys, and then just your ethical considerations. I tried to take Jacqueline Grant's ethical considerations and shove it into the slides, but it's just because it's qualitative research, it didn't make sense. So generally, in terms of conceptualization, that's what conceptualization is. I think you guys know what it is now. Ethical considerations, at a minimum, guys, you need to talk about autonomy, the fact that you're not going to do harm, and the fact that it's beneficial to someone. The best sets of ethical considerations that I've seen in my time lecturing, guys, is those from Jacqueline Grant for qualitative research. Please look at Nicole Siriani for quantitative research. Having said that, every one of the documents that I've shared are pretty good in terms of these areas, but Jack's is certainly a step ahead. Nicole was very, very good as well. Any questions at this point in time, guys? Can you see why it's important that we do these breakaway groups and that we spend a bit of time immersing ourselves in these assignment guidelines? Because it is tough. I can do the theory, but I feel I want to do a little bit more than just give the theory. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what our approach is when we get there next week. And maybe it's going to bomb completely, but you know what? We learn from bombing. Sorry, not Donald Trump doesn't learn from bombing, unfortunately. Okay, guys, any questions at this point in time? Okay. The literature review. So you'll see here, the instructions are very, very clear. Let me try that again. No, I was setting up for that, guys. It took me all afternoon to work out. I wrote it down on a piece of paper here. Um, you can see I've had my injection today, guys. I'm full of humor and I've lost my English accent. Okay, so if we look here, the first thing that you have to do is select a topic. I want to suggest that those of you that are looking at decision making, etc., just go and do research on something close to the stuff that you have. So there is the augmented decision making, AI driven, hybrid work performance, what that is. You can look at sustainability versus profit, long term, short term, data trust in terms of when we see Google and not Google so much, but Facebook being charged with that. And then, how do we skill for automation? You can see the human in the loops type stuff. I'm going to spend a bit of time looking at this. Can I ask very quickly, have you guys had exposure to Research Rabbit? Have you had exposure to Research Rabbit?
No, you spoke about it the last time, and no, still not.
Okay, guys, I'm going to make sure that we get some training on Research Rabbit. Can I ask somebody, Elizabeth, can I ask you to prompt me tomorrow? Because I will forget that I get hold of our librarian so that we can set up a training session. Okay. I'm definitely not the person to train people on it. I'm a little bit lightweight and I'm going to flounder a lot. Um, has anyone ever used Research Rabbit? Okay, I'd like us to make sure that we get this research.
We have one person on the group. They said they started looking into it.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Hey, guys, no, that's not it. Research Rabbit. Where is it? Here it is, guys. Yeah, I'm not going to try and do this, guys. I will make sure that we have that we have training on that very, very rapidly. Okay. I don't know what your Thursdays are like, guys. I'm going to try and get it done as soon as possible. It's essential for the other stuff as well. Okay. So Research Rabbit will get some training in that. I'm
Um,
also, yeah, go for it, Lebo.
Sorry, Doc. I'm just also on the group chat and trying to also like communicate what they're saying. This is like the group chat is our little chat box for now. So we
The
have
WhatsApp,
Elesna.
the WhatsApp. Let
Yes,
me go
yes.
grab my phone. I don't even know where the heck my phone is. Hold on a sec.
Okay.
Oh, you're a superstar, Lebanon. Thank you so much for doing that. Hey?
Welcome.
Oh my gosh. The group chat, my genuchtig. I like this idea. Okay. 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 So the breakaway groups, Elisma, yes, a superstar. Thank you so much. Oh, no problem. Oh God, God, I'm so sorry, Miss Culling, whoever that is. Okay. Oh my word, this group chat is as professional as I am. Okay, right. Oh my gosh. I can't keep up, guys. Happy birthday. I don't know whose birthday it is. Whose birthday is it?
We also don't know him, I'd say. It says Tavura.
Tabura. Tabura, happy birthday. Oh dear Lord. I can't be distracted. My goodness me. This bloody WhatsApp group. You would
Okay,
swear
but
you've got an
besides,
unprofessional lecturer. Go.
Elesna, on top of Tavura's message, was just asking for another training session with Zotero because I can totally agree with her. The way it was explained to us in our library, one of our library sessions like 2 weeks ago, was not of the best.
Okay, so I'll make sure we get Zotero and we get Research Rabbit. Elizabeth will prompt me tomorrow and I'll deal with it immediately when I get the prompt. Okay. The call is recorded. It was 25%, Elizabeth, 25%. We've got to take inflation into account. Right. So if all else fails, and I've shown you guys this before, I don't know if it's going to allow me to copy that because sometimes it doesn't. Uh, if all else fails, my default is always this. To simply do that, oh my gosh, and type in scholarly articles. It is, for me, it works. I prefer this. So you can, if you select that one, you can see the number already there, guys, of articles. You might want to, if you get really good articles, just go and verify it on our electronic databases. Please make sure that you do that as well. Okay, so in terms of EBSCOhost, who is au fait with EBSCOhost? Oh gosh, don't tell me I've used the word you don't know. Au fait means you, and I'm being sarcastic. Oh my gosh, imagine my rating. I'm rude to my students. Who is quite comfortable in using EBSCOhost? I was trying to be fancy with au fait. Is no one comfortable in using EBSCOhost, guys?
I'm comfortable, but I don't like using it because it becomes complicated, especially with the
Oh man,
keywords, etc.
it shouldn't be complicated. Some people are going, I feel like Oprah, 30%, you get 30%. Um, yeah, I'm happy to show that if you guys want. That I'm very comfortable with using. Um, it has to be more reliable, but sometimes Google Scholar will give us some amazing articles, and you can just shove it into there to try and get to use it. I don't like Google Scholar. I default, although this is a form of Google Scholar that I use. Where am I going to go quickly? Hold on. Just move this across here. Please give me a fraction of a second. I just need to go fetch a link. Gosh, my password's there. Oh dear. Please don't use my passwords to do evil, guys, because I'm a vindictive person. Okay, I'm going to keep recording this, guys. Oh, where are the databases? What is going on with this now? eShelf. So tired of these getting just connected and reconnected. Um, okay, I'm going to default to EBSCOhost initially, although you've got other options. So I'm just going to go into EBSCO here, guys. So you can use this recording if you need to. Okay. You see, even this has changed the layout here. Okay, so here we do that, augmented decision making. And then you would want to indicate you wanted full text, you wanted peer reviewed, and you want a date range of the past 5 years. It is very important that you limit that search that way. Okay. And then it's asking me to sign in. Once you've done that, and I'm not going to do it because it's not going to allow me to do it. But once you've done that, guys, okay, so it's all 16 databases, last 5 years. Yeah, it's now forcing me to sign in, and that's going to be a problem. Assign into my EBSCOhost. Please just give me a second. This is frustrating me. Somebody's unmuted, guys. Mute yourself.
Sorry, sir.
Hmm.
When you go
Yeah,
into apps for host, do you not select the second one, not the first one?
now I go there. I go EBSCOhost there.
Yes, and then once you click there, don't you, there's three EBSCO things that open up. Don't you click on the second one instead of the first
I
one?
prefer the first one. I prefer the first one. Sorry, I prefer the first one because it gives me access to 16 databases. Is it better to use the second one?
Yeah, I think we were told to use the second one. I don't know
Is
if it's
that
the
it?
logging,
Yeah.
the logging in
So
issue. But anyway, okay.
maybe I'm not the best person to do this. It's not even allowing me to log in. So are you saying which one do we use? EBSCOhost there and then
I would usually use the second one, the
Discovery
discovery.
Service.
Yes. And then the same, well, it doesn't ask me to sign in and I'm able to get the information that I need.
It's not even allowing me to go into it. Oh, there it is.
There it is,
Okay.
yes.
So, Shibbit. Guys, I'm wasting your time. I'm so sorry. Thank you for that. I don't know who's talking in the background. Sorry, guys. I've got stuff open in front of your bits there. Okay. Let's try that again. So the second one, thank you so much, whoever said that. Okay. Right. So you want full text. You definitely want your peer reviews and you want to do that. So those limits are very, very important. And then let's just see what it gives us. Okay, so there are tons here, guys. There are tons, and we now know. So yeah, and you can download it. Thank you for that. Who said that, guys?
Your favorite summer.
Oh, thank you, Zama. Thank you, superstar. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay. Important, guys. Full text, scholarly peer reviewed, 5 years. That's it. Okay. No, no, no. I would just go. Yeah, we can do that and do the search. Okay, there are tons there, guys. Okay, yeah, obviously something's changed in the background there, guys. Let's have a glance at the second one. Sorry, this is now me messing around. Control C. We've already limited the search, so let's just do that. Okay. There's a lot of nonsense here. Yeah. Okay. There's a bit of nonsense there. I wonder what that would look like in the one we used earlier, this one. We do this. And you see this is a lot better. This is pretty impressive. So, guys, I do this, and if I am concerned about some of the stuff that comes out of it, I'll go check it in EBSCOhost. But this is a nice render, far better than EBSCO's, much better than EBSCO's. Okay, and you can go to Google Scholar as well. Okay. The intention then, guys, is for me to make sure that I get the librarian to come show us Zotero again and Research Rabbit, because Research Rabbit is also important as an AI go and find information and find articles for us. Okay. Right. So the literature review, I think if you look here at the rubric, they're very, very clear on what we expect. Okay. So in terms of the marking criteria, so I've got to look at that the title they've given, it gives us an idea of, yeah, the scope, the rationale, etc. And then your argumentation. Just remember, guys, it is about building a synthesis, building a comprehensive argument. Please don't summarize. So if you summarize, if you use one reference per paragraph at the end of that paragraph, that to me is a summary. It is about integrating a number of sources. It is about building an argument, contrasting, creating some sort of synthesis of what is out there. So I think it's important that you make sure that you build your argument, but also that you transition between paragraphs, etc. The key consequence of doing your literature review will be a set of themes. Please make sure that you label the themes and that you then discuss and build an argument under each of those themes. Be very careful not to give me summaries, because you're going to get nailed in terms of that. So for me, the detail that I've given here is this. It is a synthesis. It is a critical discussion. It is assessing, comparing, contrasting, building arguments with the literature that you have. It also starts giving us an insight into where existing scholarship is, what people are saying around specific details on the subject. I think this idea is also that what you select from a article perspective starts to indicate to us whether you actually understand the research. What is nice about Research Rabbit is that it will highlight the articles that are most significant and most important in a particular field. And that's why we've got to become au fait with Research Rabbit. And it's my fault that I'm not au fait. Guys, and then just don't summarize. There are a couple of things. References, use Zotero, and then also, start once you've built your argumentation. Tell us where there are deficiencies, where there are gaps, and then also in terms of how we're going to contribute using this particular study. Your rubric, have a glance at that rubric. Essential, guys, that you keep focusing on this rubric. It's 3 pages. Is that it? That's very little for a literature review, but it gives us an idea. Thanks so much for that, Elizma. Okay, thank you for that. I feel like I've wasted your time tonight, guys. So the intention next week is to get together and us to then spend those breakaway groups. Can we agree to read the scenarios? And when we get here next week, I can divide you per scenario into groups. Even if we have to have 2 breakaway groups per scenario, I'm quite happy to do that. Oh, I'm glad. I'm very glad, Mavis. I was really concerned about tonight, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. Guys, I'm going to call it quits. I've got class just now. Thank you so much for attending, guys. Yeah, oh, man. And just this WhatsApp group. Thank you so much for that WhatsApp group. And I think Ronaldo on the WhatsApp group makes a hell of a difference to us. My students that I'm supervising that haven't seen me, guys, please, please, please get hold of me. You have to get hold of me so that we can move forward. Thank you so much, everyone. Please take care. Have a wonderful evening. Oh, it's a pleasure, Sandra. Absolute
Thank you,
pleasure.
sir.
Just guys.
I'm sorry, Doc.
Yeah, go for it.